Well, it was at Halifax where it's like ingrained in his brain to be there at the end of the season, there or thereabouts anyway. Do you know what I mean? That's what we've built ourselves on. That's what we've got a reputation for. So, yeah, just building on that and getting back to what we used to be, because we dominated for so long, and then we had like a transitional season where we lost a few players, and yeah, now I feel really confident that we can compete with the big boys again.
For those who didn't see the results from last weekend, let's just say Halifax had a good weekend, beating Wigan and Leeds back-to-back over a double-header at your place. How was your weekend?
Yeah, couldn't ask for much more, really, could you? To be fair, beating last year's finalists in the first weekend of our season. So yeah, very pleased with the boys. Yeah.
And a bit of a challenge as well, I'm going to suggest, and not just the teams you were taking on, but the fact you were playing back to back on Saturday and then Sunday. What's the challenge like of having to fit in those games against really good competition?
Yeah, it wasn't ideal, really. Like, the setup for first of all wasn't great. Like, having to play Saturday then Sunday, but like, the seasons used to be like that, where you'd play like 2 games in a day, so we're kind of used to that. But like, it wasn't ideal having to play the top 2 teams first up. I would have preferred to play like a warm-up game, for example, before. But it allowed us to really lay down a marker. So now that we've got the victories, like, people know what we're about. So I can't complain now. But at the time, yeah, it wasn't ideal when it came to planning for the season.
I was going to say, I mean, what now we've had the opening weekend. The secret's obviously out for what Halifax is capable of. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on the team that's been developed here and what's possible this year then?
Well, it was at Halifax where it's like ingrained in his brain to be there at the end of the season, there or thereabouts anyway. Do you know what I mean? That's what we've built ourselves on. That's what we've got a reputation for. So, yeah, just building on that and getting back to what we used to be, because we dominated for so long, and then we had like a transitional season where we lost a few players, and yeah, now I feel really confident that we can compete with the big boys again.
And how did you have an inkling as well during pre-season that you were going to be competing the way you have been in this opening weekend?
Yeah, like, the training's gone really well. Like, that's the flip side to the double weekend. It's allowed us to have more training, to have more preparation, to really gel the team together. So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Like, it wasn't ideal playing them both back to back, but again, it allowed us for extra training sessions, whereas their pre-season were cut short because they started like 3 weeks ago, and we've had that extra time to really gel the team together and really nail down this playing style for this year.
So Warrington this weekend, what's your thoughts on this game?
They're new to the Super League, so the Championship didn't really get much coverage apart from like the major finals last season. So we know a few players, like, they've got Lenny, who's been part of the England team before, so they've got some talent there, and they like to throw the ball about, and they're a bit explosive. So yeah, just really need to be on the ball with that and see what happens, really.
And what's your thoughts on the overall competition? Because you mentioned Warrington there. We've obviously got Leeds. We've got the new team, let's say the London Roosters. And we all know how good Argonauts were. Leyland, now Wigan. So North Wales, which, a really good side. I've started listing, and apologies if I've missed anyone, but it is a good competition, isn't it, this year?
Yeah, it's growing. Like, every year seems to get bigger and better. So that's all you can ask for. With the sport in the stage that it's in, we're kind of getting to a massive. Obviously, we've got the World Cup at the end of the year, so we're all building towards that. Like, North Wales have got like 90% of like the Wales team, so they're really strong, and they'll be really gelling together just to peak at the right times at the end of the year. So yeah, throughout the Super League, there's really strong teams and really like hidden gems, really. Like Warrington, like I said, they've got a few really talented players dotted in and around this development team. So it's really exciting, and just don't know what you're going to expect, and that's what we love about Wheelchair Rugby League.
And you touched upon earlier, you want to get Halifax back to where it was. Just a general thought about the club more generally. You know, you're there wearing the Halifax Panthers colours and stuff. I mean, to have names like Halifax, like Wigan, like Leeds, it all adds to the flavour, doesn't it, of a vibrant sport?
Yeah, it's massive to get all the major rugby league names, major rugby league clubs involved in the wheelchair game, just to amplify it. Just like Wigan have done really well at this year. Like they've really taken on board the wheelchair team. They're advertising it the same as the men's and the women's. And Halifax do that. I know Leeds do that. I know Warrington are starting to do that. Like it's just massive for us to get the same exposure as the Super League and Championship counterparts that we represent.
And final question, Nathan. We touched upon it already, but like I said, Warrington this weekend, then loads of fixtures after that, plus a World Cup at the end of this year too. How much are you looking forward to what's possible at the Panthers for the remainder of the season?
Yeah, like I said, like if we perform like we did and we cut out, because I'm not going to pretend to you that it was a perfect game against Leeds or Wigan. Like the score lines were ridiculous. It was like playing basketball at times. Like it was just attack versus attack. So, and if I'm honest, it really annoyed because all we've been working on in training is sorting the defence out, because we knew we could attack, we knew we were explosive going forward. So yeah, just really nail down the defence and keep it to a more respectable scoreline, to be fair, because if someone else puts 60 points against us, we might end up losing the game. Do you know what I mean? And as a coach now, because I've taken over as coach, I don't think my ticker would take them scorelines every week. But yeah, the sky's the limit with this team. Like we've got some really, really talented players. Like we've got Rob, for example, who's absolutely flying. We've got the two Catalan players that came in to play the Super League this year. So yeah, we've got some really exciting players and some young talent emerging as well. So we're burning the candle at both ends, really.